A very good evening to you. Welcome to the West Ham Voice on a Friday night. I've been planning to do one of these for a very long time, and I kept letting you down. And then finally I got round to it. And so here I am. And I've got a special guest coming on, probably two, maybe even three coming on. But I've got one at least here, which is a good start. And what we're going to do tonight, as you know, anyone that's ever watched Friday Night Live, no script, just a chat. But there is a theme. And the theme tonight is obviously, as the title suggested, all about David Moyes. And I've got a fan. A lot of you will know him, especially at the away games. When you sort of go walkabouts, he's always there. And I'll bring him on in a minute. And we're going to just have a debate. And we're waiting for the other guest to turn up. And if he does, then we'll have a proper chinwag between the three of us. So it's all about Moyes. It's all about David Moyes and how he keeps splitting the fan base. Some want him to stay, some don't want him to stay. You know, depending on who you talk to and where your point of view comes from, you get a split decision on Moyes. He's become the Marmite of the West Ham world. He's become the Brexit of the West Ham world. You know, you've always got someone with a different opinion. And depending on how you look at things, your opinion is never going to be the same as someone else's. So before I bring the first guest on, let me go into the chat and see who's here tonight and say a quick hello to you. Good evening to you, Shaky. I hope you're well, mate. Flemmer, start as you mean to go on. I hope you're well. Toha, good evening to you. You were probably right. I was probably late. Hammerette, how are you? I hope you're well. Good evening to you, Daniela. How are you? Can we set some background rules? Can you be Moyes out tonight? You can be Moyes out tonight, but you have to name a replacement because it's pointless just saying manager out. I like that. Yeah. If you want Moyes out, you've got to say who you want in and why. Ballon, good evening to you. Jermaine Beckford spotted in Home Bargains East Ham buying plates. Here we go, confirm. Anthos, how are you? Moyes in, Moyes out, shaking them all about. Trini, how are you, mate? I hope you're well. You're Moyes in, David Moyes out. Oh yeah, you're singing it again. Oh, there he is. There's the other guest. So we're gonna bring both of them on in a minute. But because he came on earlier, I will come to your comments later. I promise you, as best I can. But because he was early, I'm bringing on Bruno first. How are you, Bruno? How are you, mate?
Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
Tell everyone, I mean, you know, I've already said, you know, if you're at an away game, if you're not there, there's something wrong. So
I won't be there.
Tell everyone who doesn't know you who you are.
Oh, I've been going West Ham since I was 12. So probably around 50 years now, 50 odd years. Home and away. I've been away for most of the matches this season and last season and the current season. Used to sit in the North Bank at Upton Park. I've actually got an email, North Bank, Upton Park. And, you know, I know quite a few people. Been a lot of the abroad matches during the, went to Jiju, went to Jiju. They don't even exist no more.
They're not.
No, they don't exist. They've been dissolved, Jiju, as far as...
So they beat us twice, they popped.
They beat us twice, yeah. The first time I was really upset with Stalic's Slaven Bilic, because we came at the hotel. The West Ham team was walking down the hill. There was only about four of us. He saw us. David will tell you this. And he went like that. Turned the players around and walked off. I thought, I've come all the way to Romania, support my team, and you've walked off on me, Slav. Didn't like him after that. And he went he went within a season of that. So maybe I jinxed him. I don't know. But I didn't know you was going to do a Moyes in, Moyes out, because you did say to me in the text that we were going to be doing about transfers as well.
But we are. We absolutely are. I mean, I think Moyes in, Moyes out is going to be the main theme. But we are going to talk about we're going to talk about the team as well, you know, and what you're thinking, because the chat we had the other day on the phone, you know, that could have been a show in itself, mate. That was an hour and a half.
Yeah, but you know, I'm a flip flopper. Yeah, I hate the football. I will never adhere to that football. It is totally, you know.
But this is it. There's a lot of people like you who are just like that. Let's bring the other guest on because you know him very well. Apparently, you are unfortunate enough to sit next to him.
Hello, Sean, how's it going, mate?
Yeah.
So many seasons together.
Do you know what? I'll tell you a story. I
Here we
first
go.
met Bruno when I came to Chav Corner for the first time. So it's Trevor Brooking Lower in the bowling ground.
Brooking Lower, yeah.
Got to be the early 2000s or late 90s. I think it was the early 2000s. And right in front of us was Bruno. And Ronnie says to us, there are 2 rules in this stand. 1, we always stand. Don't want to ever catch you sitting down.
No.
Second rule is we always sing, no matter what happens, even if we're losing. And that was my first person I met in Trevor Brooking Lower when we moved. John, George, and myself moved to Trevor Brooking Lower after we'd been a few places, we'd been upper at Trevor Brooking, and we'd been to the Bobby Moore, we got to know each other pretty well. And I tell you what, he never stops singing, do you? You never stop singing.
I do now. I don't sing so much now. I'll tell you that. I fall asleep.
Yeah, I see you.
We're going to get on to that.
Sometimes, see you,
because in fairness to Bruno, what I said to him when I invited him on, the question was, as an old school hammer, how have you found the last few seasons under Moyes, and whether you think we're hitting the peaks that we want to be or where we should be, or as a lot of fans seem to be talking about, on social media, should we be ditching Moyes? And what do we need in the transfer window? And what players have impressed you so far? So those were the things. So I guess, yeah, you're right, Bruno. It wasn't just about Moyes in, Moyes out, but it's like your feeling. And you've just sort of started that by saying that you no longer sing because you're going to games. And let's start with that, okay? Because we've all got a theory, probably different. Because I mean, from what I've seen of David Moyes over the past 4 years, is we've been playing the same football, but when we were kind of winning, it didn't feel so bad. But now it feels like it's quite turgid. You got
you say that. That's it's debatable, yeah. Because we have been winning, but we've only had that moment. Sean will tell you when we was up in that Trevor Brooking Lower and we were singing away, there were moments. There were lots of moments in the match. Now you go to the match, there's not a lot of moments. You can't have a lot of moments if you're just sitting back, waiting for the other team to come. The only moment you get is, am I going to get a counter-attack? Are we going to get it in the goal? And then the goal goes in, great moment. And then back to sleep. So look at Bristol City. Bristol City, we did that. We did a little bit of attacking. And then we went back into our little shell and said, all right, come and break us down. I don't think that's a good, way to go. Come and break us down. No, we're going to smash you now. We're ahead. We're going to knock you down, mate. We're jumping on your head. You're going to get bashed. You with me? So actually giving that person encouragement to go and get you. They're going to get a few chances to get you. And that one chance they get, you already put yourself in a negative mindset. You have to now build yourself into a positive mindset. So you tell me. And plus, all the supporters have fallen asleep. So they're not singing no more. So you ain't got the supporters behind you. It's not good.
Sean, your perspective. I mean, let's talk about the football first. I mean, what's your... Do you agree with... Even I, being a sort of sitting on the fence, Moyes in one day, Moyes out the other.
Yeah, all three of us, I think we've admitted we're all flip-flop. I know Bruno just said that. I'm a flip-flop. And Stelios, you're a flip-flop.
Yeah.
And do you know what? 90%, apart from the people who are just completely one way or the other, right? There are these people that are just totally pro-Moyes or totally anti-Moyes, and you always get them in life. The majority of us are flip-flop, right? If we beat Arsenal like we did,
great man.
We're top of, it's the top of the world, and we can forget all the counter-attacking football. I'm a bit more philosophical. And look, I've said at times, I'm frustrated with David Moyes. I've never called for him to be out, but I've sort of said, do you know what? He's taken us as far as he can. Maybe it's idea. And then I look back and I look at what he's done, 3 seasons in Europe, could be 4 seasons in Europe. We're still in Europa League. We could get Champions League, right? I know we've got to beat Liverpool to get to Europe, win Europa League. We're top 6 as we speak. We could qualify for Europe, top 7 position, and make it a 4th year. There is no doubt, right, that David Moyes has achieved that no other manager has achieved in our lifetime or in the history of West Ham. That comes at a price. Success comes at a price. You can't have it both ways. Now, our good friend Nigel Khan would say, I don't care as long as West Ham give it a go. And there's some people that say the entertainment value and the football is more important than the results. But come on, right? We support a team. We want them to do well. Sometimes you can't have both. If we want the kind of success, the old romantic vision of 4-4-2 just doesn't exist anymore. And while we think we'd like to play expansive football, we saw what happened with Slaven Bilic, one season wonder. We see this. We see championship clubs come up and then in the end they get found out, So I'm philosophical. It's about the experience to me. As a lot of my colleagues often joke, I don't go there for the football because I'm often on my phone and recording and doing this and tweeting and everything else. But you know what? It is about the experience, right? Bruno will know, right? My good best mate John would say, a great day out, spoiled by 90 minutes of football. And we don't just go to football for the beautiful game, right? It's about meeting your mates and everything else, and it's about the results.
Let's roll back that one minute.
I was going to stop you there, though, because we talk about Slaven Bilic did have a great season, and then in the second season, I think we have been sold a bit of a myth because I've been looking at some things and I was like quite surprised. For instance, when Slaven Bilic got sacked, he won 2, drew 11, and lost 6. So his downfall was the draws. Yeah, he was drawing a lot of matches. Then David Moyes came in. David Moyes lost more matches than Slaven Bilic, but he won more. Yeah. And he only drew 1. So who's to say Slaven Bilic wouldn't have turned it around?
Well, that's a good point, because if you look at, I think also, Bruno, we talked about Pellegrini's stats. Pellegrini's record, I've got that here. Pellegrini, won 5, drawn 4, lost 10. And as Stel would tell you, who was in goal?
Oh,
Roberto
Green, was it?
Right, so then we might.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Roberto.
Roberto lost them matches on his own. He was getting a bung or whatever, yeah. So 1-5, drawn 4, and lost 10. David Moyes' record when he took over was 1-5, drawn 5, lost 9.
But you got to admit, right?
Pellegrini wouldn't have turned it around.
You got to admit, right? It was great to win a European Cup. I know some of the other people laugh at it, right?
It was absolutely great.
It's great to be in Europe. I quite like being in Europe for 3 years running. It's great, those Thursday nights. And like you said, Astragugu, going to Astragugu. I went to Frankfurt for the semi-final. Amazing time, Bruno.
Yeah, but we should have won that. To me, that was a lost opportunity.
Yeah, I know, but we could blame Aaron Cresswell for getting sent off.
I won't blame Aaron Cresswell. I won't blame the players. I blame that the players were getting flogged.
But let me look. He's been our manager for 4 years now, 4.5 if you count the first term. But 4 years since this time. That is longevity. You don't in this flip-flop world of immediate reaction. Owners don't keep their managers that long. He's already outseen. I think the average is 3 years. He's been there 4. He hasn't finished yet. Look, I was yawning earlier because Moyes in, Moyes out. It don't make any difference. You know what I've told you, Stel. Yeah. He's staying, right? They're sitting down at the end of this month. I know people who know Moyes. He wants to stay. He wants to sign a contract. I know the board. You all know I know the board. I've spoken to multiple people on the board. They want him to stay. Right? This is the biggest non-story ever, because don't matter what, we don't own a football club, right? At the end of the day, Moyes is staying. And I've had a little bit of an exclusive here because I don't think Nick's done that. Nick from Claret and Booze rang me up the other day and he said, I've heard, Sean, that, this is all a ruse and David Sullivan is secretly getting a replacement behind his back and this is all stringing him along about a contract, and I went, "You're wrong, Nick." And I've had a £100 charity bet with Nick, right? And the £100 charity bet is, I say Moyes will be here next season. He says he won't. Whoever wins, gets to choose the charity, and the other person pays £100. And he's calling it Muppet or Puppet. That's his.
All right.
On the back of that,
he's going to be there. He's going to be there. I promise you.
Wow.
On the back of that, then let's first of all talk about when Bowen signed his long-term contract, he related to I'm looking forward to this long-term project. Everyone's talking about this project, and everyone's making the assumption that this project has got nothing to do with David Moyes because they can't see how there can be this long-term project whilst Moyes is there. So let's ask that question. Well, first of all, before you give, I know what answer you're going to give, Sean, but I'm going to ask Bruno. Do you see, if there is this long-term project, I kind of know what the answer is going to be from you, but I want to hear it. If there's going to be this long-term project, does it, in your eyes, does it include Moyes, Bruno?
In my eyes, absolutely not. And I'll tell you why. It can include him, actually. I'm going to flip-flop here. It can include him. But we're going to be saying to ourselves, if it does include him, there has to be a change. Look at this number one. Number one, how are we going to integrate 4-3, 3-4-3, whatever we do in the under 18s and under 21s into the first team? How are we going to integrate players? Players are playing some free-flowing, attacking football under 18 and under 21. How are they going to incorporate it to Moyes ball when they get to the first team? Because we're talking about a different system. He sits back and attacks on the break. The young groups are very attacking. If you watch their matches, they're very attacking, and they're just going for it a lot of the time. So how are we going to incorporate? So basically, if we are going to have Moyes continue, number one, how is he going to incorporate the youth if you're playing a completely different system? We haven't got a system that runs right through the club. So how are we preparing the young people to walk into these systems and to walk into the first team? Number two, right? Moyes is very steadfast. And I've been looking at some other people, what they've been saying, and looking at his systems. He's using the same system he's always used. So his system isn't going to change. So are we going to let him buy players, Maguire, McTominay, to fit into his system? Or are we going to get young, hungry players to fit into his system? Probably that will be what the manager would do. And if the manager does give him, are we going to have this thing where he says, oh, I don't like this person, so I'm not going to play him? Is this going to continue? Because this is happening now. People aren't given, I don't believe people are given enough time. We've got a solid first 11, which I'm sure would be doing better. And I'm sure if another manager had them, he wouldn't necessarily play them as in that defensive block. Or maybe he might play them in a slightly higher block. Because when Moyes does actually play his team in a higher block, I do get a little bit more excited than when he's just sitting back and letting the other team attack. Maybe he hasn't got the personnel. But the main thing is Moyes going to be able to adapt? If we've got a long-term project, we need a coach, not a manager. Because a coach is easy to replace. You tell him he comes in, this is how we play, this is the players you've got, do it. A manager says, I want this player, I want that player, I want this player, and they have a system. And a new manager comes in, they have another system. So we need to get away from this management.
Off the back of that, Sean, I'm going to add another question to this. So what Bruno's saying is he doesn't see Moyes as being part of the long-term project. Where does Steidten come into this? Will as we've sort of heard some stories, if Moyes stays, and I don't dispute what you say, because I've got a feeling he will be off the contract. So if he does stay, where does Steidten come into this? How do the two work together?
Is it Steiden's
project that Moyes has got to agree to?
Let's roll back a bit to Bowen first. You know what a long-term contract means? Do you know what his words mean? That he's in a he signed a long-term contract and he wants to be part of a long-term project. Do you know what they mean?
Go on.
Nothing. Zero. Nada. Nothing. Because there is no loyalty don't get this. Oh, Danny Dyer. You know, he's Danny Dyer. He's one of us now. If Man City, Real
Did you
Madrid
like that?
come
Did you
knocking,
like him becoming an EastEnder there for a moment,
yeah,
Bruno?
if
He's deep down. He's a real EastEnder. Don't bother about
right,
that.
so
Yeah, but he ain't.
if they come along, if someone comes knocking, long-term contracts mean nothing. It just means we get more money. If Real Madrid come for him, for Man City come for him, you know, Bone will be off, and so was anyone else. You know, there is no loyalty. So let's not read anything into long-term contracts or long-term projects. Now, then we go to Steidon and Moyes, right? Moyes wants to stay. Now, he might be a bit of a dinosaur. He might be stubborn. We know he is. But don't believe everything you're reading about that there's a war with Tim Steidon. As you know, they do talk. Steidon comes down at the warm-up before every game. They talk with each other. He talks to the players. It's not like it's at arm's length. They're working together now. Here's a bit of a story for you. Mr. Sullivan's almost being cut out of the picture. It's Tim and Dave keeping the ball out of, and they're working together really well this transfer window. And I think they've built up look. The early days there was some frustration, but they've built up a relationship. They will work out a way to work together. David Sullivan sees Tim Steidon as number 2 to look after football strategy. Will David Moyes ever report to Tim Steidon? No, never. Not in a million years. Can they work together? Both will have to make some compromises to come up with a way that helps the future of West Ham. Absolutely. We could see that last summer. Let's not put it all right. Let's not put it all in Tim Steidon and go, oh, look, he's the success why Kudos came. He's the success why Alvarez came, Mavropanos, James Ward-Prowse. You know, David Moyes had to sign off on all of those, right? He had to sign off on all of them. So I think as they work longer together, they will work together. And I don't see a problem with them working together for the best interests of West Ham next season and the season afterwards. At some point, right, we're going to outgrow David Moyes. I just don't think that's going to be next season. Okay. And I don't know whether it's a 1-year contract extension, a 2-year extension, etc. But I think that he's still got some unfinished business. And this whole thing, the two can't work together, I think is absolute bunkum.
So then let's move on from that then, because, you know, it's funny at the beginning of the season, Bruno, in the transfer window, in the summer transfer window, we were all patting ourselves on the back going, best bit of business we've done in a window for many a year. You know, we were like cock a hoot, weren't we? Like, we had players like Kudus coming in alongside Paquetá, who was already there, and we had Alvarez and all these players. And we were all, you know, everyone was going, wow, what a squad we've got. And now all of us, halfway down the season, we've gone, Jesus Christ, we're threadbare, you know, because we're relying on players like Kudus and Paquetá, etc. And now that they're all injured, we're all really scared about, you know, what might happen in the second half of the season. You know, will players like Kudus, if Moyes stays, a lot of people are saying players like Kudus will go and players like Paquetá will go. Do you think that will be on Moyes, or would that be a natural progression of the way West Ham United are?
It's viable that will happen, but I can't say from what I see and the effort I see the players put in that they're not playing for Moyes. I can't see that, because when the full 11 is out, they run like anything. They do much more work than they do loads of work. So I can't say they're not playing for Moyes. That's one thing I will put there. Yeah. Would they want to leave to get better football? It's possible. The rumor is that Agard wants to leave because he doesn't like the style of football. I don't know whether that rumor is true or not, but I can imagine it. Me personally, if I'm playing,
it's true, Bruno. It's true.
It's true. Yeah. So players will not like that type of football. So this stops you getting the players, and it also stops players coming. If you said to me, I'm a West Ham diehard, and I got a chance to play for West Ham, and I thought, God, I ain't gonna be playing in that crap. You with me? I'm not gonna be playing in that. That's not to me how I want to play or the type of team I want to be in. But the other thing is, of course, these players are magic that we're getting, and I don't know who got them. Whoever got them, great job. Yeah, Moyes signed them off, great job. These players are magic. Kudos is magic. Paqueta is magic. And then with Bowen in front of them, we've got the magic that they can give him the ball and they put the ball in the net.
All right. Additional question on top of that, then. If we got, say we were lucky enough, and Sean, you're probably closer to knowing how true this would be or not. If we kept the players we've currently got, all right, we know a Gerd's going, but if we kept Paqueta, if we kept Bowen, if we kept Kudus, and then either in probably not this window, but in the summer window, we added to that, could the style of football change? Because Moyes, I'm trying to get my head in Moyes' mind, and what we see with Moyes is, or at the moment, what we think we're seeing is, he's looking at his first 11 and going, that's a really good first 11. I'm looking at the bench and I don't think anyone can match that, and then he isolates them. If we kept the players we had, if we kept the players we've got and we added that sort of quality, could the football change, Bruno?
There's a lot of players to add, number one. Number two, I don't think the football would change because that's the football that the manager plays and prefers. So if that's what he plays, it's quite hard if you're used to drilling in a certain type of football to somebody, and then all of a sudden you have to make a new set of football. So if anything, you're going to be looking for players that fit into your system, as opposed to looking for players that will fit into a new system that might not go right. If you look a couple of seasons ago, Moyes said that he did try to change things, and it went disastrously wrong, and he went back to type. Yeah. So I think the way that he plays is the way he plays. And I'm not saying that the way he plays is not effective, but who's to say? I mean, look, let's be honest. Yeah. You said about, you better be, I was speaking to my friend D yesterday, and he said to me, oh, you better be careful for what you wish for. I've just said to you that Moyes came in and didn't do no better than Pellegrini. But he had time. You with me? So we might get Marcos Alonso. He might not come in and do anything. Yeah. But he might draw players in. He might get players in. He might progress us to a certain type of football. He might even look at the youth level and say, all right, this is how I'm going to play. Because I actually think that he might play that way already, actually. Yeah. So he might look at that and say, all right, this is how I'm going to set my team up. So we may, I'm not saying we would, but we might be getting, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. So if you're going to be jumping up and down because all of a sudden you started coming over West Ham because we're winning matches, oh yeah, we're winners. It's all right for the banter. But if you're going week in and week out like I am, mate, honestly and truthfully, it's not very good for us.
So Sean, I'll ask you the question, Sean.
Yeah.
You said that, and I actually think I think we've seen it without realizing it, that the two men can work together, Steiden and Moyes. Is it that, Steiden is actually, instead of, we got this vision, haven't we? That I think someone did a show the other day saying Jack Clark of Sunderland is a Moyes choice and Bergwijn of Ajax is a Steiden choice. And they're at loggerheads. I want him. And I want him.
No.
I know that. Like that. I know that. But it's a good story, isn't it?
I know. Let's go back a bit, right? Let's be clear, right? We're not big time Charlies. At the end of the day, if a big club comes for Kudus, if a big club comes from Paqueta, Alvarez, etc., they're going. Same as Bowen, right? We are not that big that, and I don't think they care about which way Moyes plays. It's about their career, winning stuff, and the same with Declan Rice, right? We could turn in to a Brighton model with Tim Steiden, where we identify raw talent like Kudus, and sell it for, Kudus comes in, we sell him for, he comes in for 35 or 40 million, we sell him for 100, 120. Great bit of business. We keep him for 2 seasons. Same with Paqueta. Let's be honest, Paqueta would have been off by now if it weren't for the betting scandal. Conspiracy theories there. But he would have gone for 85 million plus add-ons. He's he's streaming, playing Call of Duty as we speak. But you know, when he's exonerated, which I think he will be of betting, I'm sure someone will come in for him. So we just have to, a bit like Brighton, we've got to use these players the best we can, keep them as long as we can, like Declan Rice, but know that ultimately, you know, if they're really that good, they will outgrow us in the same way Declan Rice has. But I see Steidon bringing that raw talent in. Now, there is a slight change, and the reason we're looking at Sunderland, and we've talked about this, Del, is we have 8 homegrown players. The 8 homegrown players, 6 of them are on their last legs. Antonio, Cresswell, Johnson's about to leave. You've got Anang. I don't know if he's going to make it. You've got Coventry that's already left. Yeah? I'm missing one. Who am I missing?
We went through this the other day, but
I mean, Bowen and James Ward-Prowse are going to stay
until he left.
Johnson.
I've said Johnson. Who's the other?
Have you mentioned the goalie? You have.
Yeah, I've mentioned Anang. So I can't remember who the other British player is that is on their last legs now.
Of course.
Sorry?
Danny Ings, we keep in
Danny Ings, of course it is. Well done, Bruno. It's Danny Ings. So, you know, 6 of them
forget?
are the 8.
The great Danny Ings.
Yeah. 6 of those 8 are very tenuous. Only 2 of them, you go Bowen and James Ward-Prowse, you want to say. And James Ward-Prowse, remember, is he 30 or is he 29?
28.
He's 28. All right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, James Ward-Prowse. So we've got to buy some homegrown. If we want to have a squad of 25, and I'm not saying we have the whole lot, we've got to get. So Tim Steidon has to buy some homegrown. That's why we're being linked with the likes of Jack Clark from Sunderland. And I just don't. I think it's very lazy thinking to just go, that's a Moyes buy, that's a Tim Steidon buy. So I think that I really do think they're working together. The agents I speak to say they're working together, and almost David Sullivan's been cut out of the picture. I meant to mention something a bit earlier about, you know, do people want to play? And you'll know this, Del. I get a lot of grief on social media all the time saying for lots of things, but in this case, I said that Bowen and Thomas Souček would not sign a new contract over Moyes. I was told that by, I'm not going to name them, but quite a well-known agent right at the time. Yeah, and I took it at face value. Okay. Well, it proves what a load of bollocks that was, right? They're saying they don't like Moyes. They're not going to sign a new contract. Well, Bowen signed a new contract. Souček signed a new contract. So it just shows when people say there's this underlying that players don't want to play for Moyes. I don't believe it, and it's been proved. Be careful be careful in listening to agents. If you look at the way that the players, agents have agendas.
If you look at the way the players are running around, you can't even say that they're running themselves to the ground playing. Look at Paqueta and how he runs around that pitch. Look at Bowen and how he runs around that pitch. Look at Kudus. These are flair players, but look how they're running around that pitch and contributing to the match. You can't say that they're not playing for the manager. It's impossible. Yeah. Okay. They might be playing boring because it's a boring system, but they are playing. Yeah.
They're professionals. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can't say that. But what you can say, though, both them, we can, and this is, I'm agreeing with you now, and it's getting me worried now, is that both the players that they're looking at, they're both for Moyes ball. They're both for that system.
Well, Bruno, this is a question I was actually going to ask Sean. You know, you see the two men playing together, working together. So it is a bit of a myth. I do agree with you, Sean, that, you know, Moyes wants one type of player and Steidon wants another type of player. I think the way that they're working together is Steidon has gone to Moyes and said, we'll ask, all right, Moyesy, what do you need? I need a left winger. What kind of player do you need? I need someone that's going to be a workhorse. It's got a bit of pace, does this, that, and the other. And Steidon will go, I'll go and get him for you. Yeah. What else do you need? I need a centre back. I need a ball playing centre back, or I need an old fashioned, you know, bruiser type centre back. No problem. I'll go and find one for you. I think they are working together, and I think we kind of saw that a little bit in the summer. But of course, to keep the Moyes out, Moyes in debate rolling, people want you to think that Steinen is the one that got
Oh, come
kudos.
on, Celius. Do you really? I expect
don't
that from
believe
others,
that,
but do you
Sean.
really want the Moyes in? I tell you, the only thing about the Moyes in, Moyes out, it stopped all the balled out. You know, there's no balled out because
Well,
in some
you know,
ways it's a
this is
distraction process.
Oh, they
It's,
love
here's
it.
the
They love
irony.
it.
no
They
blame
love
of the
it, mate.
balls.
Here's
all
the irony.
about-
I was actually going to go into because you know you're old timers, and well, so am I, and we've always had an issue at West Ham, haven't we? It was the bond scheme,
Yeah.
it was moving ground, it was board out, and now it's Moyes out. We always seem to need something to.
We like to be divided. We're a divisive fan base.
This is exactly what I was going to ask. You know, if you go back to the bond scheme, here's the irony with the bond scheme. Not that I kind of really knew
Yeah.
much about it
I
back
want
then,
a bond. Yeah.
but the irony of the bond
I wish I
scheme
bought one.
is,
You got one of you?
I wish I had.
Oh yeah, me too.
I wish I had. But the irony of the bond scheme is, if it worked, we wouldn't have left the bowl in, would we? Wasn't it the whole idea about
No.
raising funds to try part of it to improve the ground?
No, but come on, you
It
know
just look-
that was
just
in the
look for money.
90s. If you remember, the whole point was, you know, the Taylor report after, you know, the Hillsborough incident had said we needed, and they couldn't get money from the banks, right? So they did a bond scheme to raise money. In the end, actually, because they raised a little bit of money, and it was only £611,000, by the way, raised by bonds sold. The 808 bonds sold. Weird that I
Those
know
lucky,
that in my head.
lucky 800 bondholders,
Including Graham Howlett, by the way, who's now got a bond. Then and ex West Ham employee also got bombed. That's another story. The banks then lend them money, so it's untrue to say if the bond scheme had worked that you know we'd have stayed at the end of the day, the transport, the building permission, and it just wasn't going to work. And look, an opportunity came along and we grabbed it, you know, after the Olympics. And I don't think most other owners would do it. There's no point, you know, we could talk all night about whether that was right or wrong decision, but it's a decision made and we can't go back. So you're right. You know, that divided the fan base at the time. Before that was a bond scheme. Then the Icelandics, you know, there's always
the
something.
Icelandics, yeah.
You know, there's always something us West Ham fans want to moan.
Well, we're West Ham, aren't we? We're West Ham.
Yeah, we're West Ham. You're right.
Yeah. So it's always going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's the entertainment I'm looking at. Yeah. And I just ain't getting it. That's why I'm a little bit off with this, because I just don't see the entertainment coming back. I mean, I'll go to the matches now. I used to be like, I didn't get so drunk for a start. I'm on the beer now. That's it. We're at the boys and the beer. Some of them boys leave at about 20 minutes into the match.
Yeah,
Really?
I mean, in the old days, I never used to see you sober.
Oh, well, yeah, you know.
In the
I
old
was always
days.
sober, actually. I'm worse now.
Are you sober nowadays at games?
No, I'm worse now. I was sober then.
Oh, right, you're more sober.
Yeah. I'm worse now. But,
They were the good old days.
yeah, I know they were good.
So,
but
another thing with you know all these stories that are coming out, you know, if Moyes stays, another thing people go on about, of course, is the academy, and people are saying that we're wasting the academy. Now, look, for people who are logical, you'll look at the academy over the last few years and you ask yourself, give me a player from the academy over the last, apart from Declan Rice, that's come through and has smashed it in the Premier League, because we haven't had one for God knows how long.
And
but yet Moyes gets tarnished with the,
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
no
But
player
name me a
in the
team,
academy
Stel.
is going to develop.
name me a team that give, you know, their 18-year-olds, their 17-year-olds, their 19-year-olds, and put them through. There's very few in the Premier League.
yeah, there's few. Brighton, Man City.
Well, no, you say Man City, but not really. I mean, they rotate so much. You can't say that.
The young boys, they've got two young boys in their team now, and one more coming up. Phil Foden was young, and when he came through, so you don't get a lot.
But
of,
they're
don't
the
get a lot of
exceptional,
academy
right?
players.
Man City can afford to get the best youth in probably the world. You
Yeah,
know,
who's got the
with
best
their
youth now,
reputation.
though? We're supposed our youth team are kicking it.
Well, they're not tonight, are they? They got knocked out, didn't they?
Unfortunately, we got
but
knocked
look,
out
you had another
tonight.
16-year-olds playing, they're getting 40-year-olds. What do you expect?
No, tonight was the under-18s FA Youth Cup, and an extremely dodgy penalty decision was given against us.
I was watching live before coming on. This was on YouTube.
So, I mean, this links to this question that Anne's asking. Ask the board, Sean, ask the board, aren't they furious with the money Moyes wastes on players he doesn't play? And that links in with the academy. You know, should we be looking for at the academy to be bringing players through, or should we be a little more careful with what we do with you know, the type of players that we're buying? Now, I'm guessing that's another reason why Steiden's here, to stop us wasting money.
Yeah, look,
let's start with the academy first. Let's start with the academy for Will the academy flourish, or will any players in the academy flourish under Moyes?
None.
No, I disagree. If they're good enough, I'll tell you what, and the exception to that might be Callum Marshall. I've a weird feeling that when Barman's not going to be the one, these are not the droids you're looking for, but Callum Marshall might be. You know, let's remember when Declan Rice came in, right? And he got his chance, and he just played, and he never got out of the team again. Let's not be, you know, doesn't matter. If Moyes brings in a player and they show their ability to play at the highest level at the Premier League, they're staying in the team. You know, he's not stupid.
Let's be honest. When Declan Rice came in, who was our defensive midfielder?
Now you're asking.
Because whoever it was, they were crap.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
But you know what? He did. He
wasn't that German geezer. Wasn't the German geezer was at the end of his shelf? No, that was before.
No, that was before.
I can't remember. It was Hayden Mullins. No, that was before.
No.
That was
I can't even remember who the. That's how bad it is. That whoever he replaced, we can't even remember them. So it was quite good that we had a player that was a specialist in that department. They could come in, and he needed a defensive midfielder. And was Moyes the first person to play him?
No, Pellegrini.
No, he wasn't.
Pellegrini,
he looked at him and he said, "Okay, this guy can play defensively in that position." And even Declan Rice, after a couple of years, said, "Do you know what? I'm sick of this defensive stuff. I want to be moving forward." And we had to change him. So even that, he got, even though you don't look on it, he got disgruntled in the position he was playing. But he was a specialist. He's Arsenal playing that way now, defensive, the same way he played for us. That's how he's been brought up to play, and he was good enough, was world class. But that doesn't mean, I mean, if you get a player and you don't fancy him, and then you farm him out to some other club up north and change his whole life. He's been at West Ham since he was 8. You with me? And you don't bring him through, you don't give him a chance, you don't try him out. You're looking on the training field and saying, look at David Moyes looks on the training field and he looks, I'm not even putting Kehrer on. Kehra's a German international, right? So how's a youth going to get on that pitch?
Yeah, I know, but he wasn't that good. Come on. The same with a girl, you know, he's wanted out since the summer. He's not that good, you know, he's not worth...
Well, some people will debate with you and they'll say he is that good, but he's not that good in the system that we're playing.
You could say that about Danny Ings, though, Bruno.
Well, Danny Ings is that good, but he's not that good in the system.
I don't know. His legs are gone.
If Danny Ings went to Burnley, he won't be doing so much running, so he don't even need legs.
Yeah,
he to be in the right position at the right time. Danny Ings could have no legs and play for Burnley and score goals on a regular basis, I'm telling you, because of the system. Burnley, he'll just sitting there with no legs, just his knees, just up to his knees. They put the ball in, he'll do a diving header. He'll score.
Yeah, that's true. That. Yeah. Maybe we should change the system to play to. There you go. That's a players. Change our system to play to Danny Ings' strengths.
Well, no,
there's an argument to that, though, isn't there, Sean? There's an argument.
We had a geezer called Haller. We didn't change our system for him.
No, we didn't.
We had a geezer called Skamaka. We didn't change our system for him. So we're not. So why did we even get Danny Ings? Because we're not going to change our system for him.
Well, we could be here all night on why.
I know it's a long day.
By the way, still, I only can do another 5 minutes, mate.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Sorry, Sean. I've seen your ages and I've worn you out.
You have, you have. We should meet up next time you're in the. Sometimes you're in the West Stand, aren't you?
No, I'm always in the Trevor Brooking Lower.
Oh, you no, I've seen you a few times in the West Stand next to the wall.
Yeah, around 132, 131. Yeah, I've got some mates over there. I'll go
Yeah. That's because I'm in 112. So
here's a question that you can both answer because
Cool.
it relates to the style of football. Where do you think our future fans are coming from if we continue with 20% possession football? This is my biggest worry: a future stadium full of even more tourists. Now,
too right.
there is that. Well, be careful, Sean.
Well, it is. I mean, we're a destination now, right? With the whole brand. I in front of me, week in, week out, stands tourists, right? One guy who came from Paraguay, who came in this great big pipe, drinking some caffeine drink through a thing, and he'd told me he'd seen West Ham on the old thing, Green Street. He'd seen the film and he'd seen Ted Lasso, and while he was in London, he wanted to come and see a game, right? And we're a tourist attraction now. That's where some of our seats go. That when tourists are in the capital, they want to see a game. And it's not just West Ham, Chelsea, Spurs, Arsenal. They want to see a Premier League game, and
doesn't that
tickets
impact on the atmosphere at the stadium?
Yes, of course it does. Still. But it's modern football, right? And don't say it doesn't happen at all the other grounds, because it does. But you know what? The sad thing is, whether we like it or not, right? And we go, well, I'm voting with my feet. I'm not going anymore. You go, okay, bye. We'll sell your ticket to someone else.
But wasn't this the plan in the first place, Sean? The first thing that when we moved into that Olympic Stadium that they tried to do was try to get rid of all of us who've been going for years.
Yeah.
That was the plan. The plan was to have the popcorn.
You say that, Bruno, but actually, nearly all of Chav Corner was moved into that section where the wall is now. So where I am now, they moved Chav Corner at Mass. I'm sure you were offered that at the reservation centre, but most of the people around me are the same people I knew at Trevor Brooking Lower. Obviously, some people have given it up, and it's very sad, but they're replaced, and it moves on. And that's modern football for you. It's a spectacle because the Premier League is so successful. And loyalty and where you're from and how much, where you're born means nothing now to modern Premier League clubs. It does. We're just a customer.
Does that mean, the way football is supported in England is dying a bit of a death? Our people, our fans like us, so we're all old. Is this not the fan?
Well, let's
they're not
be honest,
catering to the fan base anymore, are they?
We are props for TV, right? Make no doubt about it. We are props for TV. The TV companies, the Premier League, don't give a stuff about us. In general, they earn billions from TV audiences around the world. That's where the money comes from. It's about TV. We are props to cheer. And do you know what? If we're not there, AI now, we'll just fill in some the crowd and make some fake noise. TV might not know the difference. I'm being a little bit flippant, but we're an afterthought. It's not about the live, and Bruno will know this. The times that the away games are just moved without notice, or where there's no trains, or this crap of playing on a Sunday at 2 p.m. That's about TV audiences. It's not about worrying about the fans and getting to the ground and backwards and forwards like all three of us do. But you either accept that or you don't. Right? You either accept that's part of modern football or you stop going. And like I said to a lot of people, what are you going to do at a weekend, right? What are you going to do? How are you going to fill your time? So if you don't go to football,
got a ground up the road from me.
Well, that's it. You're right, Bruno. You go to grassroots football, and I know a few people that have done that. I know a few Chelsea fans who go to Crimp and Casuals. I've got Dorking Wanderers down the road. My son plays football. My son plays football for under 17s for Horsley on a Saturday and Sunday, and I love watching, you know, a little bit of Sunday League. So you're right, and I get more out of that. But you know, you make your choice, right? We either give it all up, or we just carry on what's left of it.
I want to pick up on this question before you shoot off.
I'm going to go.
Yeah. So
yes,
I'm going to ask the question that I've asked many times before.
Yeah, 100%.
If we had social media when dear old John Lyle, say hello to Wassy, that's the don't knock him over, you little fucker.
Watch out, Boomer's around.
If we had social media when John Lyle was around, would he get us hounded as much as David Moyes is being hounded now?
Absolutely.
He would, wouldn't he?
It would be the same thing.
I think Sean's actually gone. Okay. You know, is but sorry, go on, mate.
Absolutely, because we always had a moan, but we went down the pub, had a moan, and then we went to the next match, and there would be something to excite us. It wasn't all about the winning. Sometimes it was about the football. So people would say, "Oh yeah, but did you see that? Did you see when he did that?" Football was exciting. You and me. We went football because it was an exciting sport. We went there. We met up with the boys or the girls, and you know, we had a couple of drinks sometimes and sometimes not, and we watched an entertainment. Yeah, London Stadium. That's not entertainment. What I've been watching. We've been winning. Yeah, it's winning, but it's not entertainment. And even people say, "Oh, Arsenal used to win 1-0." When Arsenal used to win 1-0, they were entertaining. And the other thing that made me laugh, someone had the cheek to say, I think it was David Moyes or someone, that in Italy, right? It killed me, this one. In Italy, when they look at defensive game, they look at it as an art. Yeah, but in Italy, and I'm going to say this, and I'll say it again, if they're defending, they don't have 2,000 shots against them a match. They'll have about 4 or 5 shots. Yeah, that's what their defending will be. Keep the team away from their goal. Not let them come into their goal, have shots, you know, and make the goalkeeper the man of the match. This is what we're seeing. You mean?
Well, it's Bruno, because
who was the man of the match? The goalkeeper. Okay, yeah, before I go any further, can I just say an apology to Mrs. Hackett? Mrs. Hackett, when I was talking about the legs, it was just an example. It wasn't against people who haven't got legs. Sorry, I apologize.
I'm sure. Yeah. No, I hope no offense was taken. That wasn't. It wasn't meant to be that way.
No, absolutely. Lovely lady.
Yeah. Now it's funny, Bruno, because I said I put a post up on. I did it tongue in cheek. Sorry, the cat is being. I did it tongue in cheek. I said in Italy, when a manager defends, it's considered an art. When it defends, it's considered an art. In England, in the Premier League, when teams defend, it's considered boring. It's true, isn't it?
I wasn't referring to you, but it is an art in Italy.
No, I know you weren't.
It is an art in Italy because when they defend, they keep you away from their goal. Yeah, they could have a 1-0 and their goalkeeper might not have had a save to make. Yeah, but when a team, you're beating them 1-0, yeah, and you're beating them 1-0 or 2-1 or whatever, but your goalkeepers had to make 6 million saves and they've had 2 billion shots on target, and you say, "Oh well, we played really well." No, you didn't. You was lucky as fuck. Pardon the language. And that luck has got to run out at some time. It has to. It has to run out at some time. Yeah.
Do you think it's going to run out this season? Let's get on to where we are now, because we have got a little bit of a crisis. By the way, Sean just messaged me. This is how amateur he is. He just messaged me and said, "I can't find the charger of his bloody laptop." But he's gone.
Sean used to be Sean. If you can hear us, you should be disgraced in yourself because you used to be head of IT. All them years back, you were head of IT. Head. Yeah? Deary me.
So where we are now, you just said our luck's going to run out sooner or later. And it kind of feels, we've been here before, haven't we? You know, we were here this time last season and the season before last, where we got a whole load of injuries right around the transfer window, and we didn't do any business. Certainly 2 seasons ago when we were in Europa League, we did no business, and that affected us. We're already 12 days into January transfer window. We're seeing a lot of players going, mainly, the really peripheral players. Good luck to Connor Coventry. I hope he smashes it at Charlton, and good luck to some of the other players that have gone out on loan. We had a Kadua has gone to Wycombe Wanderers today from the under-21s, and we've got a couple of others about to go. But we need players in our squad, don't we, mate? But is it going to happen? Or are we going to rely on hoping that players come back in time for the onslaught?
Well, my question is, why do we need players when we've spent half a bill on players over the last year? Our manager, Moyes, yeah, and I believe he is the Messiah, because Jesus Christ, right, never had as much luck at him. Jesus Christ was put on a cross and crucified, yeah, and this man plays a match, gets 2,000 shots against him, his goalkeeper plays a blinder, and people go, what a manager! We've got Super David Moyes. He knows exactly what we need. What the?
Be honest, have you sung that?
No.
Yeah, what, never?
No.
Not once.
Even at the Prague final, yeah, when they were singing it, I was thinking, God, that was lucky. I want to get down the pub and celebrate this now. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Because I'm thinking that weren't super, mate. Yeah,
it weren't super, mate. But what an experience!
Nice. The feeling was great. The feeling at Arsenal the other day was great. These are the feelings that you want. Yeah, but when you go back and you think, well, you know what, that was a shit match.
Well, I did a review the day after when I kind of sobered up and everything. And I did say in the review after the final, if Fiorentina weren't playing the dark arts, falling over, looking for fouls and all that sort of stuff, if they actually played football, they would have spanked us.
I think they would have done us.
They would have done us.
They could play football. I don't even know why they went down that road. And maybe this is the Moyes, because he called up to his great Lord up in the sky and said, make Fiorentina play crap today. And it worked. It worked. So at the end of the day, but it was a great occasion. I'm not going to say it wasn't a great occasion. And I'm not going to actually, for some reason or other, even though you can see that I said I flip-flop, but I think I'm probably Moyes out. Yeah. And it's mostly to do with that he's had opportunities to change the football and he hasn't done it. And I don't believe he will do it. And I just can't fathom that football for too long. You with me? And I spend a lot of money going football. So I still probably will go, because I say this every season anyway. Yeah. I said it when he came back. I thought, I'm not going to go back and watch West Ham if he's coming back. And I ended up getting a season ticket, going every single away match that season. And knowing what I was going to get, because we're die hard, aren't we? But the new people coming in, they think they've got, you've got to be realistic if you're coming in and look and see, yeah, this is how it is. 2 things which Sean was saying about us is that we've changed, because we were a family. Yeah. It was a family club. Yeah. So Sean is basically saying we're not going to be a family club going forward. And the other thing we were the Academy of Football. We did get players coming through, and that's never going to happen again, because we're not the Academy of Football. We should be taking that away and giving it to other clubs who are.
That went away long ago, though, didn't it, Bruno? I mean, our last crop of superb players was the days of Ferdinand, Carrick, Cole, and all that. I only remember, I'm sure it's happened before, but I only remember, a batch of players coming through out of all the teams, that we want in England twice, Man United and West Ham. Man United had that great crop of players that won the treble and all that sort of stuff. And then West Ham, who we should have done a lot better, shouldn't we, mate?
Oh, God.
That crop of players.
Yes.
Mismanagement,
yeah.
And I guess this is why. And I understand what people are saying about, Moyes won't give youngsters a chance, etc. But this is why I kind of look at it and think it ain't just a Moyes thing, is it really? It ain't just a Moyes thing. We haven't had we haven't had that many managers that have allowed young crop of players. The last time was that crop, but since then it's been few and far between.
Sam Allardyce threw a couple underneath the bus once, didn't he?
Yeah, true. So what do we need? So what do we need in the transfer market in order to not start slipping down the league?
It's not even the transfer market. I mean, we're safe. We're not going down, and we're going to probably get some money from Kudus and Paqueta at the end of the season. So we're probably going to be doing a rebuild, because at the end of the season we're going to need a lot of players. Again, we've just bought a load of players, and this is the legacy of Moyes. We've just had a season where we bought a load of players because we lost a load of players, and we're going to have another window coming up in where we're going to have to get another load of players because of the way that he has bought. And we've let so many players go for nothing. You with me? I heard that Felipe Anderson might get sold, and we got a sell-on clause, so we might be getting money from him if he gets sold. But why is he worth money now? He's worth more than what we sold him for, and we paid a load of money for him. So even though we talk about Super David Moyes, we've lost a lot of money. We've lost a lot of money, haven't we?
A lot of money, yeah. But I think that's another reason why Steiden's coming in, so we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but
I think
Sean says he can work with Moyes, but if you look at Steiden, he might take some youth and bring youth through as well as getting players, and that's what we need. And we're not going to do that if we're playing a completely different system to the youth. The youth can't come in and play in a different system that is completely different, and they'll look at Cockney says they've looked at Rice, and he knows that they'll look at Rice and say he's left, and Rice has left probably because of the system. You with me? So at the end of the day, the youth are going to come through, and they're going to want to get away, and then when they go away, they're going to be ruined. Because if you keep a player and he's in your system, he's built within your system, you can get enough players into that system at a high level in cup matches, bring them through. But you can't bring somebody through into a completely different system that they're playing, even though they say they're football, they should really play anything. But a youngster coming in, all that pressure of now playing a defensive thing, doing all that running, and it's completely different to how he's been brought up. He's not going to go to another club and be able to sit in there because it's a culture shock. And he's not going to be able to go into that West Ham team as it stands now. So if Moyes is staying and he's working with Steiden, it's a worry, because that means that we are going to be just selling players, having them for a year, selling them, bringing players to replace them, selling them. And if we keep in the system we're playing and we don't play, I would not necessarily listen. If Moyes played that system for some of the match and played another system for part of the match, I probably wouldn't be complaining. You with me? Probably wouldn't be complaining. But you're going out and you're playing that system, and that is the system you're playing. And is it effective? I think it's been lucky. We've been lucky, But we have won a lot of matches, and if you look at Moyes, his record at Everton or something like that, he wins about 3/4 of the match. About just under half the matches he wins. So he might win half the matches. He might have some bad patches. He's going to have a lot of losses, but he's going to draw because he's playing not to lose. So you're going to get that with him. But that doesn't mean that you can't get that with another manager who's more attacking. Yeah.
And I think that's why there's this. I think that's why there is this debate. I mean, for those who may have joined late, you would probably have heard Sean has said that Moyes is going to get a new contract, and it will happen. I mean, he's pretty confident that it will happen.
I believe Sean.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? Because you do hear the murmurs that certain players don't like the system and they want to leave. And I think that what's going to happen at the end of the season is, if he does get the new contract, how many players are going to put in transfer requests, or how many players are just going to put up with it? I don't know. But in the immediate, mate, because we've got Moyes has got some decisions to make, especially changing, if not the style of play, he's almost going to have to change the system because of the fact that we've got so many players out. Now, I've got some ideas, and I don't know what you think. He could stay with a 4-1-4-1 system and start giving some of these so-called, fringe players an opportunity to shine. And actually, when I look at that lineup, there's 3 fringe players in there. There's Johnson at the back, and I'll explain why in a minute. Cornet, who I think a lot of us would say should have got a lot more game time than he does. And then Ings, I've put Ings up front for the time being because I've got players closer to him. Now, the reason why I put Johnson at the back, we talk about this issue with we've got a problem with our left-sided attacking play. Would you put Emerson further forward and put support behind him?
That's one thing I would definitely be. I've been thinking about that quite a lot because he's quite good going forward and he can defend. In fact, if we could get another defender that's exactly like Emerson to play in Moyes' system, it might be more fruitful for us. Because I think 2 people down that left-hand side like that will shore that left-hand side, massively, and it will make us more deadly down that left side. At the moment, when we've got our players there, our injured players there, we're quite good, but we could move Paqueta more central and get a left side. We do need a left-sided player. We all know that, don't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
So Emerson can do. I think Emerson can do the job there because he's got the relationship with Paqueta anyway. And I don't know why he hasn't been playing Ben Johnson on that left-hand side and pushing Emerson up rather than playing Benny lose the ball. You me? Because Benny's been awful. Ben Ramos, when he's gone on, he's been awful lately. I don't know.
He has. And the irony is, whenever Johnson plays as a left back, he plays pretty decently.
Yeah, people were moaning about a couple of matches that he's had, but I thought he's played all right.
Yeah. And then Cornet, I put him in there. I mean, given that, you look at the subs on that screen, we haven't got that much choice unless you start filling it full of academy players. This is what we've got at this moment in time. If we don't buy any other players, with players out on international duty, players injured, etc., is it finally time to give Cornet an opportunity?
The thing about Cornet is we don't know what's going on there. I got no idea what is going on with Cornet, that he isn't being picked and put into the game. He looked really good when he first started. He got the injury, and since then he hasn't really done anything or not been played. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with him. So we don't know what we're going to get with him. Is he really up to speed? Is he fit enough? Could we play him there? I don't know. I've got no idea. You're asking the wrong person there. I'd have to sit down with David Moyes and find out what's actually going on there. But yes, Cornet could go in that left position. That is true.
And then I've got a different system. Someone else mentioned this a moment ago. 3-5-2. Again, Emerson put in 3 centre backs. We know what Zuma's like. His knees have gone. He needs a bit of support. Maybe having a player either side of him. Look, I know Oggie's, of an age, but maybe he can still do a job. And then doing a 3-5-2 system, and then having 2 up front. And then maybe you might get the best out of things.
Moyes used to do a lot of this 3-5-2 stuff.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, and he seems like he's just gone away from it completely. Because when you really think, if we had not Oggy there, but we had Agard there, that would have been viable. That would have been, you say, okay, you've got 2 speedy ones and you've got the one who does all the cut across interceptions and what have you. And then you'd have that midfield, which you could spread across and they could interchange even in that midfield. Then you'd have the 2 up front. Yeah, he could have played that a long time ago. So he's not going to play it now, is he? With substandard players or players that are less able when you think about it. So I think that's something he's more than likely to play 5-3-2. 5-3-1-1.
I didn't want to put 5 there, but I know it would be 5.
Yeah, it would be 5, yeah, because it would be Moisey ball 2. Moisey ball 3, actually. Moisey ball 2 is not bad.
Right. We're an hour. Any other things you want to mention before we bid farewell?
No, I'll just I got some stats up. I did want to say one thing, 2 things I was going to say. One of them was, let me just have a look here. One of them was this. Which basically is,
I didn't hear that, mate. Sorry.
You can't hear it?
No.
All right, sorry, maybe you can't hear it. I'll leave that then. I won't even go there. But not really, nothing more to say. Thanks for having us on. Shame that Mark couldn't join us. Hopefully we'll try and get him in another time. And yeah, thanks for having us on.
And the Mark that he's referring to was Mark Ward. Bruno's a good friend of his, and we thought he was going to be available, but apparently he's decided to fly off.
Yeah, he was traveling today, so he might be a bit jet lagged. So probably hasn't joined us because of that.
It wasn't that far, mate.
Yeah, but jet lag is jet lag, isn't it?
Listen, I've really enjoyed it, Bruno. I hope you can come on again, mate.
Yeah, I will do that.
It's been enjoyable, and I've been looking at the comments, and people have been commenting about you as well, saying, they like what you said.
I'm innocent, Your Honor.
Really appreciate it, mate. Really appreciate it.
Thanks,
and I'll chat to you soon, yeah? Are you going to Sheffield?
Oh, without a doubt. But I won't be going to Bristol.
We're catching the, hang on, I'll tell you. Are you taking the train up there?
100%.
I'll message you. We're catching a 10 o'clock train, I think.
I'll be long gone by then, mate.
What do you mean?
I'll be in the pub by the time you get on the train. What are you talking about? Yeah. I'm with the boys. We're down there early.
It is early. 10 o'clock is early, mate.
Too late, mate. That's too late.
Jesus, mate.
We'll be like looking for a pub by then in probably be in the Witherspoons because that'll be open.
Well, I'll try and catch you up when you're there. Are you going to Bristol next week, or?
No, I'm not going to Bristol.
No, it's one too many, isn't it? Really.
That's the one I'm missing this season.
Yeah.
But then I say that, but I see if I get out of work early Tuesday, I might be on that be on the Rattler and be down there. Yeah, so who knows?
See, it's getting hot. That's the problem. Is getting home. I can't do an overnight. That's why I'm not going. But look, everyone's saying Bruno, like this bloke, Bruno, Black Country. So I really appreciate
away matches. Get down the pub, mate. Get some in. You and me. Get down to them away matches. Support the Hammers.
You see, what we do on the train, though, Bruno, is we bring a few, snacks with us.
Oh, you're train boys. You're train boozers.
Yeah, exactly. So when we get there, we're kind of like, we're ready. We're ready.
Yeah, the boys I'm with, I don't like drinking with them on the train. They put away more on the train than they probably put away on the in the pub because it's like a race away on the train. Get one. Do you want another one? Yeah. Oh, this one. Do you want another one? Let's have a shot. Anyone want a Zambuca? You with me?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
no, you see, we do it properly. We have a bottle of Prosecco, a few nibbles.
Oh, you do the posh stuff. Yeah. My boys are a little bit rougher. You with me? Some of them say, you can have breakfast now. We'll have it when we get down there, won't we? Yeah, I guess another beer. You with me? They're terrible. Yeah. I don't really mean that, boys, if you're listening in. Yeah. I'm just having a laugh.
Listen, it's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot, mate. Much appreciated.
Yeah,
and I'll see you soon, yeah?
See you later, guys.
Right, that's it, people. I hope you enjoyed that. Something a little bit different. Really much appreciate that you tuned in. I promised I'd do a Friday night, and I've finally done one. When I'll do another one, I don't know. Maybe I'll do it once a month, something like that. There you go. Even Sean's like, Bruno, he found his plug then. I hope you all enjoyed it. And I'll see you all soon. And obviously no game this weekend, so I'll do some update shows on transfers. And unfortunately, before Sean got cut off, we were going to ask him if there was anything close. But when I spoke to him on Monday, I did the More Than Just a Podcast with him. He said there's nothing remotely close. Should we be panicking? I don't know. But I'll do some transfers when they come up. And then, of course, the West Ham Weekly on Monday night. My thanks to Bruno. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you all very soon.